What's up, YouTube, and welcome to my pickups video for the month of April. I'm actually starting this off with an arcade game called Ninja Emaki. This is a game I bought the board on eBay about, I don't know, 12 years ago maybe, 13 years ago. It's been a while. Back in the day, you used to be able to buy just really quirky Japanese arcade boards that were unknown very, very cheap on eBay. This was one I did buy back then. I played it very happily for a few years. I was pleasantly surprised. This game is a ton of fun and was really unknown at the time. And then went to play it again probably about 10 years ago and noticed that the game did not work anymore, which sometimes arcade boards are prone to do. So then it kind of just sat in my collection, non-working for several years. I attempted to have somebody local fix it. They sat on it for probably about 3 years. I got a little frustrated that they hadn't done anything with it and just picked it back up from them, broken. Sat on it a few more years, and one day noticed that one of these just sold on eBay recently for $800. That was a huge surprise, and that gave me the motivation that I need to get this fixed. So luckily, in the state of Missouri that I live in, there is a shop called El Dorado Games that is in very rural Missouri, and I was able to ship the game to them for an exchange service. Apparently it's just an old arcade operator that has several boards in stock that if they can't do a quick fix to yours, they will swap it out for one from their inventory. So luckily, they did send me a replacement board. It is not the same exact one that I had that I sent them, so they were obviously still working on mine. This one was interesting because it had a sticker on it that it was tested okay in 1997. So it had been sitting in inventory for quite some time, obviously. Very, very just cool game. It's kind of a, I guess, people shooter is what you would call it. It's kind of a more like Pocky and Rocky with more satanic imagery, I guess would be another way to think of this game. It has this very, very creepy title screen. And it was developed by Nichibutsu in 1986. What I can tell you is compared to most of the arcade games from 1986, this game has really good graphics. I think this could hold up even with stuff that was coming out around 1990. So it really shows that they put a lot of care into this game, even though it was not a hit, at least in the US. And I don't think even in Japan this game did very well. I'm trying to remember the Japanese title for it, but I have heard it before. And again, I think it was a very unknown game that now somehow has been discovered and collectors are trying to get this. So very happy to have it back in my collection. I'm considering this a pickup because I haven't been able to play my copy in over 10 years. So I've been playing a lot of this. And just a couple things about the gameplay that make this game really neat is you have a basic shot, which is your A button, but if you look along the bottom of the screen, that is your alternative weapon. And if you pick up a ninja scroll, which are several throughout the stages, that gives you, it puts you into magic time mode, where you get the timer that's counting down on the right for about 20 seconds, and you can choose on the fly with the B button any of the 8 weapons at your disposal for your sub-weapon. It really adds a lot of variety to the game. Just really great design, and I don't know how this game, like I said, flew under the radar so much. Obviously never got a home release, and I don't know, hopefully you're enjoying this. Take this look at it. The demo mode does really give a pretty good demonstration of what all those different stages are like. The very first stage is actually a like auto-scrolling shooter, but most of the other stages you just kind of walk around, more run-and-gun style. So it's a little bit of an interesting mix of gameplay throughout the game. So that's about it for this piece of my arcade collection, and give me a break here and I will switch over to the console games I got this month. Be back with you shortly. Alright, so let's continue the rest of the pickups video. What I can tell you is I didn't get a whole lot of other stuff this month. Been feeling kind of sick the last week plus that I'm trying to recover from, and it's really put a damper on my game hunting, so hoping to be feeling better soon and getting out there a little bit more like I like to do. But I did get a few things this month, so let's go ahead and talk about some Master System games I got that were all complete in the box. First one of these is Altered Beast. I'm not really the biggest fan of the Genesis version of this game, so I can only imagine the downgraded Master System version is probably not very good, but just happy to get this in the collection since I like collecting Master System stuff. And then the other two games I got for the Master System are both 3D games that require the glasses to play. I don't have the official glasses, and I don't really want them because they only fit a child-size head. But there is some other alternatives now that you can use to play those games, and I'm trying to get a set of those glasses as well as the adapter I need to play them. So once I get all that, which hopefully will be in the next month or so, I'm looking forward to checking these out. First one of these is Zaxxon 3D. This one was very complete. It even had like the game catalog that some of the early Master System games came with. And the other one I got, this one seems a little bit more difficult to find. This is Blade Eagle 3D. So looking forward to checking those out again once I've got my 3D set up ready to go for the Master System. Next I got some complete-in-the-box Super Nintendo games, which I don't really tend to find that often. First one of these is Separation Anxiety, that has all those Marvel characters in it. Box is a little beat up on this one, but I know this one's a little bit difficult to find, so kind of happy to get that. And then I got Spider-Man X-Men Arcade's Revenge. I've played this one before. This game's not very good, but nice to have another one of those, I guess. And then the last one of these I got is quite possibly the coolest box on the Super Nintendo. I don't know what possessed this company to go all out on this release, but this box really stands out on the shelf, and that is RoboCop vs. Terminator in this hard plastic casing. It's really an interesting design how they created this box, because the back of it is just a standard cardboard, and it's just a tray that the top flips or pulls directly off. It doesn't have flaps on the side like a typical Super Nintendo box does. So let me open this up and show you one of the other flaws of this. It's not by at all a perfect design, because the manual does not fit flat along the game. It will not fit with that plastic hard shell on the top. So my understanding is every copy of this out there, the manuals were all folded in half from the factory like this, just to get them to fit in the box. So there really is no like mint version of the manual that you can find, which is disappointing. And then the game itself just, you know, kind of sits in this tray, which is just a little bit slightly different design than how all the other Super Nintendo games are. So, like I say, it's very unusual that they put all this effort into this box, but knowing that the game is not very good, that was probably maybe their hopes of selling it. And while I'm not a huge RoboCop or Terminator fan, I definitely think this is a cool piece of the Super Nintendo collection. So very happy to have this in this fancy box for the set. Let's talk some Sony stuff. I got a Way of the Samurai for the PS2. I think I own every other game in the series and just never got the common first one. They found this in a local thrift store for $2, so I couldn't pass it up. And then I got a new release for the PS4. This is Bloodstained Curse of the Moon. Been playing this one. I'm not super sold on it. It's okay. It's definitely indebted, obviously, to the original Castlevania and Castlevania 3 on the NES, which are two of my all-time favorites. I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of like Metroidvania-style Castlevania games, so these are normally way up my alley. I just think that they could have done a little bit more with this game. The character art is just very limited. I think they were trying to, you know, keep it very authentic to like an NES style. But honestly, seeing some of the newer retro releases that have been coming out, they could have, you know, made the character art a little bit more memorable and stylish, while still retaining that classic NES look. So gameplay's alright. Stages are very long. Does have kind of a unique feature in that you can play with kind of a classic style difficulty or NES difficulty, and then if you are having difficulty with the boss, you can actually dumb it down to a lower difficulty level and then go back up in difficulty level to the next stage, kind of on the fly. So it's unique, I guess, if you're having difficulty getting through some of the stages. Music in the game is kind of hit or miss. Some of the tunes are pretty memorable, some of them are very generic. So overall, I mean, I'm happy to have this game. I just think that as long as this took to come out physically, they probably could have done a little bit more to make it more memorable, to really stay on par with some of the other retro themed releases that are coming out now that are really a little bit more effort, it seems like, that are being put into them. So anyway, happy to have it, but not completely blown away by it by any means. This next one is a disappointment for me that I bought this. This is Battle Garegga Revision 2016, the Korean version. This is one that I've been holding off on buying for a really long time. There's nothing wrong with the game. It's a very high quality production, and the reason I was holding off on this is because I thought we were going to get a US release of this a couple years ago when Limited Run teased it. And really it went silent since then. They didn't say anything. They weren't really talking it up, so I finally just said, you know what, this Korean version is going to get hard to find in the future, so I better pick it up now before these go out of print. And suddenly, Limited Run announced next week that they are releasing this in the US. Great. They took a very, very long time to do so, so I don't really know what the holdup was, but I'm happy to have it regardless. I don't know if you know the full history on this, but there was a Japanese limited edition box that had all kinds of cool arcade flyers and stuff, just tributing to the classic Battle Garegga game. But there was one flaw with that production, in that the game only came with a download code. You didn't get a physical disc. So this came out about a year later. This was like a reaction to that, I guess, in the Korean market, that they wanted a physical disc. It's just a standard vanilla edition, but overall, the pack is very well created. Has a lot of remixed soundtracks and updated soundtracks they added just for this release. One thing I'm trying to figure out is, I have the Japanese Saturn version of this game, and one feature that version has that is very welcome is a way to change the bullet color so that they're a little bit easier to see as you're playing the game. I don't know if this enables that option somewhere in the menus. I'm trying to figure it out, but they're all in Korean. And just trying to understand if that feature is enabled in this version, but that would be very helpful, because while this game is very highly polished and well designed, the bullets are a little bit difficult to see at sometimes. So anyway, this was put together by M2, who is doing a really bang-up job on a lot of these classic arcade shooters, and I know they have some more in the pipeline, so looking forward to more from them. And like I said, now this is going to come out in the US, so no reason to hold off on getting this if you have been waiting. That is all the games I got for the month, and I got one more thing, and that is a Game Fan magazine from 1998. This is a Yoshi's Story issue, has some stuff from early 98. Not a fantastic issue, but definitely welcome to have another one of these in the collection, and I'm still thinking about going for the full run of these, even though I need quite a few more, so we'll see how it goes. This is a seller that I bought several from a couple months ago, and I guess he found one more that he forgot to list on eBay, so I got this very cheap, and happy to have another one of these in the collection. So that about does it for the month. Hopefully you like this video. Please take a moment, like, comment, subscribe, let me know what you think, and I will talk to you soon. Have a great day or night, wherever you are.